I went to the movies this weekend and I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the 10th Planet of the Apes film to date, following the five original movies in the late 60s and early 70s, Tim Burton's 2001 remake, and the trilogy in the last decade, directed by Rupert Wyatt and Matt Reeves. This follows on from them and is directed by Wes Ball, written by Josh Friedman. It's set hundreds of years after the events of the Caesar trilogy. Ape society is now flourishing, and we follow one particular tribe that has mastered falconry. But when a young member of the tribe, the son of the master of falcons, accidentally lures another tribe to its home ground, he finds that their camp is devastated, and he goes off on a mission to rescue his people, getting involved with a young woman who has gained the ability to speak, and discovering a king planning to use the lost technologies of the humans to establish himself as the king of the planet of the apes. It's very poor. The great strength of the previous films, I think, is that they took themselves extremely seriously. They were deliberate in examining thought and ideas and concepts, and this feels little more like another installment of Adventures on Board the Planet. There's very little meat to it, and I found it to be far too long and far too slow. It's nearly 2.5 hours long. It's certainly far longer than any of the previous films. And it lacks much in the way of interesting characterization. Caesar was a very compelling character, as we saw the story of his life unfold over 3 films. But here we have Noah, who is really kind of an identical cut-out young adult protagonist. Few of the other characters make much of an impression. And as I say, there's no sense of this being a key event in the world's history. All the previous films, even the seemingly more inconsequential, were key events that shaped the history of the planet. And this isn't. This feels like table setting. It feels like a product designed for teenagers and the young adult crowd rather than intelligent people of any age. Simply setting up the next installment of the series. I think that's why Wes Ball was enlisted, because he's a visual effects designer whose only previous work as a director was on a series of young adult science fiction adventures. So if the studio wanted a more malleable, more amenable yes man to take over, who nevertheless knew his technical potatoes, onions, then he's the man. Few of the cast stand out. William H. Macy has a small role, who's ultimately entirely irrelevant. Deacon Lachman, the Tibetan Australian actor who has been in all kinds of things and is very recognizable, appears at the end and has one line of dialogue. It really feels like this is the first film in the series that cannot justify its existence. The original 5 films are generally very strong. The last of the 5, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, felt like one too many, but nevertheless, there's enough meat there. Burton's remake was, in principle, an interesting idea, but it just got smoothed out and flattened out, and the result is a complete mess. The Caesar trilogy is extremely good, highly recommended. This is a weak film. It's a boring film. It's a film that never justifies itself. And really, although I normally allow a second wrong turn before writing off a film series completely, unless they hire some decent talent to replace the absence of Matt Reeves, there's really nothing that would compel me to see another new Planet of the Apes film, especially after a complete mess like this.